Right in the heart of a silver bullet.
Yeah. I think they plotting on man. Don't wipe their feet when they enter the lab. I feel a cold stare.
Have the friends taken polygraphs?
Well, from my understanding, all but I believe one took a polygraph, and from what was told to me, that they all passed. And all of the ones that took a polygraph took one without a lawyer, and they cooperated with law enforcement. So, from my understanding, everybody took a
Why do you say
polygraph
that's
test
from
but
what you
one.
understand? Did they tell you they took a poly and
They
passed?
told they yes, ma'am. They told me that they did it. I wasn't there, so that's what I'm saying. From my understanding, they told me that all the boys except one, which is Warren, I believe, took a polygraph test. All of them did not have lawyers and did it and cooperated with police. Warren also cooperated with police. I just believe he didn't take a lot to take the test, but Warren is the young man that I interviewed. So according to what they told me, they all took a lot to take test and passed. And it's an equivalent of a lie detector test. It's not a traditional lie detector test, but it's the same theology of trying to get to if a person is lying. I don't know the name of it. It's an equivalent of a lie detector test. It's a different methodology. I don't believe it was a polygraph test. I believe they took other stressors in order to analyze if the people were telling the truth or not.
So then the answer to did they take a polygraph would be no.
Well, yeah, I think it could be semantics, because they took a test to analyze whether or not they were being truthful in their statements, and that certified test, they passed it. It just wasn't considered a traditional polygraph. I think it's a more advanced way of doing it.
Brandon Tatum. Hold on. In a nutshell, Joe Scott, there is a difference between a polygraph, which measures all sorts of body signals, your sweat, your breathing, your heart, your blood pressure, all sorts of things, and an audio verification test.
What's happening? I just follow my voice on this one, right? When it comes to situations like this and people like Brandon Tatum, to have the title Officer Tatum as your moniker, right? And his long history of just being anti-black, whatever. This also goes into the concept of policing, and the concept of how black people commit the most crime and blah blah blah. When you have somebody who says they were an officer, and when there's a situation where it looks like white people do something suspicious, he can't say it. Especially if it's a racialized thing where it looks like white people did something to a black person. He just can't say it. It's like, no, I just can't do it. It's like, yeah. We have to assume this is how you policed. And we have to assume this is how the people that have been on your side and your supporters for years, the ones who were officers, this is how they policed. Which means, how much crime did y'all let slide? A lot. Because it didn't fit the concept or the construct of what a criminal was in y'all biased minds. I heard somebody say his Officer Tatum is not detective. That was D.L. Hewley, matter of fact. And that's the point. Open and shut case. Pretty much every time something is done and a black person winds up losing their life, it's an open and shut case. It's a can't you see? And you got a lot of people on your side that believe, hey man, we need this. We need this Stephen. We need this Uncle Ruckus on our side to help us get away with this BS. And whether you consider what happened, what they're talking about with Nolan Wells as a crime or not, the consistency of Did it happen to a black person? And the people that they think did it was non-black? Well, let's just wrap this up. Nothing to see here. Is very, very high. And to the point where you got Nancy Grace, who was a prosecutor, like, bro, I'm not, no, I'm not buying it. And sometimes, and the comfort, that's what I would talk about, is the comfort of, let me go around these nice white folks to help cover this stuff up, because because I know the plan, they know the plan, and then, but it never dawns on you that, hey man, sometimes when you go too far, too many times, there's going to be something that people don't let go of. And it's because even with the concept of racism and bias, even racist and bigoted people, go, I'm glad we got away with it, but yeah, we did some BS on that one. That was definitely some BS. But we can always find somebody like Brandon Tatum or Candace Owens to go, yeah. Oh, I forgot. They got the young man from Angola who's talking about, black kids in the suburbs commit just as much crime as poor white kids. It's like, all right. And then they was like, no, this is not, there's no data on that one. That's not true. Not whatever you're looking up, that ain't real. It's got to be real because I said it, and and that's what it is. To the point where you guys look irrational and untrustworthy and really not believable, because it comes a point where you can't even call a spade and say something's wrong right here, because you'll always have a caveat. Oh, I spoke to the people and they told me and I believed them. Interesting how, so somebody wound up losing their life, and you talk to them and you believe them because you were a cop. Interesting. You didn't presume guilt. They were innocent, huh? They just, they had nothing to hide and nothing to lie about, and you were willing to cover it up with them. And there's going to come a point where even with this situation, that, like Nancy Grace was talking about it, bro. What they said on that was it phone line on that call was like, that's damning evidence. But here's the thing: in these situations, damning evidence doesn't necessarily count. And then you have a point where, it's kind of like when people talk about the conspiracy of white elites, and when they say, white elites don't, one of the reasons why they stay so far away from everybody else is because they know that they screw people over, and they know people know that they screw people over, and they know they could be a target because of that. Right? It's that same mentality where even people like Nancy Grace know, look, we keep making excuses and saying it's got to be this situation and that situation, and you got to, that T isn't crossed and that I isn't dotted, and then when the I is dotted and the T is crossed, well, it's not capital though. It's not a capital T, but I get what you're saying. And then when it's capital, when the T is crossed and it's capital, but we want it in cursive though. Okay, but then it's in cursive. But we want but we need this indictment in French though. It's like, listen, even people like Nancy Grace know, okay, something wrong. This doesn't smell right. There's no excusing this, and this. And all we got in this situation is people going, but they're white. And you got people like Officer Tatum but they're white. You gotta let it go. And it's like, oh, okay, right. And you become more and more of a pariah because people look at you like you become a sideshow. You become, oh, this is the person we're gonna bring up to say the stupid stuff that nobody would say, and you're gonna sit there and you're gonna be, I'm a Christian and I'm a family man and I'm a God, and it's like, yeah, you're an idiot too, and you were a cop, and you were a cop in the South, and you're from the South, but all you got in your mind is, but they're white though, they're white, and everybody looks at it, and I'm not gonna say everybody, but the bulk of society looks at it like, okay, this dude can't, he don't know his elbow from his asshole. And then, when as this type of bias and sellout and cooning backfires with white people, we already know I gotta find a crime with some black people. I gotta find a crime with some black people. Lord, I gotta find a Lord, send me a crime with some black people so I can make it about these black people, because what I just did, I don't know if I could come back from. Yeah, man. I think the guy dissed the parents. You know what I mean? Propped up the quote unquote kids who were probably, at the least, they're gonna be in court. Oh, and by the way, I'm gonna say this also with this whole scenario, right? When it comes to this situation, the lady that got into it with the guy in the parking lot, the Carmelo Anthony situation, the Chud the Builder situation, generally what keeps happening and people keep seeing it is white people starting altercations and America trying to cover up that they started altercations. And the problem is back to back to back to back to back national stories. That's the problem. And you see in each scenario, how black person bad, white person good, black person wrong, white person right. And what keeps happening is you keep justifying it. First, it was the Carmelo thing, and it's, did the guy start a fight? Did the brother start a fight? Yeah. And all of a sudden, technology didn't work. You know what I'm saying? Chud the Builder. Oh my goodness. Then it's like, yo, this guy using firearms outside of courthouses. How we gonna cover that one up? Then after the Carmelo thing, I forget the lady's name that was in the parking lot, and that was a man versus a woman, and it's like, but he didn't he wasn't antagonizing the woman and keep messing with the woman. He was just walking, and they happened to cross paths again, and he kept walking up on her, but he wasn't threatening. You see, he was a veteran. You see how this goes? And it's a couple of other incidents. Well, now that I think about it, oh, I sure forgot about the um, Cyrus Belton. Oh, there's always a reason to go, but we can blame them. But it keeps going back to back to back to back to back. People starting incidents, and whether the black person fought back, took a life, or lost a life, it's always their fault. And you have people like Brandon Tatum, even in this situation, we got to cover for this. And and people like Nancy Grace are like, bro, we can't cover for all of these things. This is getting out of pocket, because there's gonna come a point where the pushing point of society where it goes, oh, these laws don't matter. Because you see it in all of even in these quote unquote police videos. We're pulling you over. What's going on? Get out of the car. You're being detained. It's a traffic stop. Yeah. You're being detained. You're gonna go to jail if you don't get out of the car for this traffic. What's the traffic stop? I ain't got to tell you nothing. You lock them up, beat them up, shoot them. Oh, okay. And then people like Officer Tatum, it was justified. There comes a point where you go so far there ain't no coming back, and I think he's gone that far that no matter how he looks at it, because he's trying to be the next Charlie Kirk, it's not going well, But these are the people that got to learn on their own. But tell me what you think. Catch you on the next one. Peace.